their mortgages right here on stage today. We have a Melaleuca record, by the way. 35 businesses have achieved this incredible milestone. 35 businesses, 35 homes, 35 families whose lives will forever be changed because they are now debt-free. But before we welcome them to stage, will you please put your hands together for our founder, our executive chairman, the master mortgage burner, Frank Vandersloot.
I'd like to introduce a new concept to you today. Here's the concept. Frugality is sexy. Frugality is, and by the way, I've been thinking a lot about my father. I've just been listening, the convention on a budget. It's so fun for me because it's so the opposite of MLM. An MLM company would never do that. Never honor people who came and tried to save some money coming. Their message is all about, fake it till you make it. Spend your money, make it, buy the big car, buy the big house, make it look like you're really, really successful. Go into debt up to your eyeballs. Because then they'll think you're successful, and then they'll spend the money that they got to spend to get into your MLM deal. And then they teach get rich quick. The more, and they say it takes money to make money. By the way, that's the biggest pile of baloney I've ever heard. No, it takes hard work to make money. But we have a way. We have a way for you to make money. Just give us your hard work, but don't spend your money. Because that will make you poorer. When you spend your money, that takes away from your net worth. And so we teach opposite concepts of those guys. And it's so fun to hear those stories. And I'm just saying, honestly, for me, it's paying tribute to my father, who taught that principle to me when I was just a little kid. And he said, son, don't ever go into debt. Don't ever go into debt. Now, he didn't have a college degree. He had a third grade education. But one of the wisest and most beneficial things he ever told me was, okay, son, you got to go to college, and I can't afford to send you. You got to save your money. And whatever you do, don't go into debt. Well, that was, okay, Dad. And so I started saving my money when I was, just every penny I got went into the bank. We used to have a little what they call it a passport, because it looked like a passport. And when you took a deposit to the bank, you made your $2 deposit in the bank, and then they would stamp it. And then they would calculate the interest. And you'd say, okay, I put this much in, and look at my interest, and then he add that, and here's my new balance. And for me, that was fun. That was as good as a video game for me, to see that amount grow. So I milk the cow every night and every morning, run it through the separator. I'd do that before school, but that had value to me because my dad worked on the railroad. He wasn't home, he was gone, but he let me, I had the cream check, so I could take the cream, and I could, about 2.5 gallons, I had this little Jersey cowboy, she really pumped out the cream, and if I could keep it away from my brother, who he chug-a-lug my cream, and so I had to keep, but I could take 2.5 gallons a week, and I'd get about $2.50. And then I worked odd jobs all the time saving the money. By the time I was 18 years old, based on the odd jobs and saving, and I had to buy my own clothes, so it was a fun venture for me to see that add up. Had enough for 5 semesters of college when I was 18. I didn't have any money for food. I didn't know I was going to do that. I didn't have any money for lodging, but I had enough for 5 semesters of school. So when I got down to Provo, which is just a little bit further south from here, I knew I was going to have to get a job, so that, and I mentioned that on that introduction video. I found a job at a laundromat, and the guy said, "I'll pay you $50 a month for 3 times a day. You got to clean all the dryers and clean all the washing machines and mop the floor, keep this place spick and span, and I'll pay you $50 a month. And by the way, if you want to stay here, there's a little cot we can put in this little closet here. You can sleep there. Had a little hot plate. So that it didn't have a bathroom. Well, it had a public bathroom, but no shower. So I had to get up early before anybody showed up, and I would take a sponge bath, and that's how I started my freshman year. By the time that my freshman year was done, I'd saved up more money, had more money in the bank than when I started. But it was all about not spending money. So when it's been fun for me to beat this system. When I first got married, and I'm telling you this to say, I don't know if you can get caught up in beating the system. I mean, fairly, honestly, but when I got married before I got out of college. And I didn't have money for a house, so there was a vacant home out in the field. I talked to the guy who owned it and said, "What if we moved in there?" And he said, "Well, it doesn't have running water or anything, but actually it did have running water, no hot water." So I paid $25 for a used hot water tank, had an outhouse, but hey, I was romantic, so I went to put my bride in a yucky old outhouse, so I dug a new hole. Moved the house out, she had a brand new hole. What more can a bride want? I got through college doing things like that. I got a longer list without any debt, which changed my life, which gave me, and through savings, enough, when I was 36 years old, enough money to invest in Melaleuca. And if I hadn't done that, we wouldn't be here. So the Ball brothers let me invest my savings into that operation. That's how I got ownership in Melaleuca. So we're here celebrating people who have lived frugally because their water isn't broken. They don't want stuff that they can't afford. And we've taught the opposite of the MLM companies who said, "Wait and fake it till you make it." We say, stay out of debt, live frugally, pay cash, and have real financial freedom. So we're going to celebrate. Yeah, they deserve some applause. We're going to celebrate people who have done that. It's the opposite of what the world teaches. But when you do that, then as Hank has pointed out, you're way ahead. I'm telling you, way ahead. Because when you use interest, it costs you literally twice, maybe 3 times as much as when you can pay cash. So we're advocates, wait until you can pay cash. Those of you who have credit card debt, we're advocates of the Dave Ramsey program. Get that credit card paid off. We don't have to come here and live fancy and try to impress anybody. That doesn't say anything more about you, just because you're living frugally. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. Nobody's gonna, honestly, they don't think more of you because you went into debt, because they're trying to keep up with you. They're following your example, and it's a bunch of baloney, the whole thing is. So live frugally, be sexy, and live freely with all of that. That's what we're advocates for. So, Hank, this is our 30th year.
That's right. So,
they don't have your mic on yet.
Okay, I think it's on. There you go. Okay, so tell us, back in 1994.
Yep.
That's when you started this celebration.
Yep.
What was going through your mind at that time? Earning mortgages.
Well, I thought it'd be fun to do, and we had, so the first mortgage burning we ever did was Ron and Camille Frazier, Pocatello, Idaho. That was the first one ever. We learned some things. We never burned it. We didn't know. We just said, I promise, if you get yourself totally out of debt, I will come to your home and we'll burn the mortgage together. So that was the idea. We didn't know how many we'd have, but I thought, I'll be able to make it out to every one of them. And sure enough, Ron and Camille got their home all paid off, and they were doing really good with Melaleuca, and so we showed up to burn their mortgage, and you know, you don't want to do that in the house. So we did it right outside the house, right in front of the front door. We wanted a photo op, but there was a problem. And that when we lit them, and we burned the actual mortgage, it was like 16 pages or something. And so we had a nice fire going, but we had the door open. And we didn't realize there was a draft going inside the house. So we had the fire going, and all of a sudden the flames were going inside the house, and we scared us to death for a minute, but we learned don't ever do that. We learned stuff along the way, but today we have, how many?
35.
New record.
Yeah.
New record. So it's time to celebrate these folks. So let's bring them on stage.
Before we bring one of those families to stage to hear their lesson, can we just say thank you, Frank, for creating this culture for us? For creating this culture. It's such a unique culture. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm honored by that. Thank you. I take that as a tribute to my father, and he never got to see Melaleuca, but he would have been really proud, so thank you.
Should we bring one of them out?
Yeah,
Hear their story?
let's hear it. We have a story to tell you.
That's right. So please put your hands together. From Richland, Pennsylvania, Executive Directors for Rhoda and Wilbur Swigert.